Good morning. Just want to welcome you all to Coffee at Ralph's. I'm David Lauren, and I'm thrilled that you're both here. I feel like in many ways it's unique to meet people that they met and they look and sound like sisters. So I hope you'll enjoy what I think is going to be a very compelling conversation about life and family and how to be better or good humans. So Thank you both.
Thank you, David. Aliza and I met 10 years ago, and it was just one of those love at first sight kind of things. I respected and trusted everything she was saying. It was the right tone. Tone is everything to me. And I was like, okay, you know all these things. I know some other things. I think we could put like our peanut butter and chocolate together and like, there's something here. And I think when you get into parenting, you can lose people who are either not parents or have kids at a different age. So I've collaborated with Aliza. She did the pilot of our show that is currently on the air. She has a column every single issue since we've launched the magazine. And I have always believed in your wisdom and guidance because you are about raising good humans and about being a good human. And that is an all ages party that everyone is invited to. And that's the difference about you. And that's why, in my opinion, it transcends and can hook all of us in. And we can get down to business about the search. We are on the search of how to live a life here. And if we've invested in the time of being parents and with and for children, where is the calm? Where is the confidence? Where is the wisdom? How do we get there? How do we get there?
Well, first of all, I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you. I don't know how we get there because I think if I did, what would be the point? But all of the science says that our own growth is the best thing we can do for our kids. And so just the search, just the reflection, just knowing that that is a part of this deal changes how our children grow, which I think is so incredible. That when you tune into what's going on in your past, what's going on in your present, and making all of the sense in the world of it, that your kids benefit. So you're getting the benefit for yourself and you're not acting on your kids. Like it's not about that.
Why do you think that optics are so cripplingly supposedly important? And I'm talking about a two-prong effect of optics. When we're alone in our house and our kid is having a moment and we're wondering, which tool in the box do I search for right now? Or when it's on an airplane and you're freaking out and everybody's looking at you as if they've never had a child and you're ruining their entire experience. Why is it in the private and the public moments that all of us have that deer in headlights feeling? What can we do in those moments?
I mean, we're so vulnerable in those moments. And I am pretty sure that the people on the plane who are doing that are so disconnected from whatever their experience was, either being responded to or as a parent themselves. When you are doing something different and your mother-in-law is looking at you with the judgment, really what's happening is if she decides that what you're doing is amazing and it was different than what she did, then what does that say about her as a mother? So it's never about looking down at you as the person on the airplane or the poor mother-in-law that I just referred to. But it's really like, oh, that person has to decide in that moment, if this is a different choice than I made and I accept that choice, does it undermine who I am?
If we figure that out, it could solve the world's problems. Because that seems to be at the core issue of I have experienced different or I feel and believe and think different. It's okay. My mom did me such a favor by being someone who dropped me off at all these different people's houses for the weekend, which gave me a sense of realizing how many styles there are. So that was something I really loved as a kid that I got, and it made me an unjudgmental person and appreciate it. I love the differences. I celebrate them. And that there is not one way. And that is the feeling that we get bestowed upon, that there is one way, Therefore, you're not doing it that one right way, which is the worst. And I think we're in a crucial, pivotal moment of living in a culture of fear. The divide of this is right and this is wrong. And all of this is leading up to say that everything I'm doing and fearing and working on and working through is outside of myself. It's about the world. It's about the rights and wrongs. It's about my kids. It's about how are other people doing it? How is it supposed to be done? Oh, there are styles. How much rhetoric I discuss and talk about and think about, and I'm far away from me. So in the whirling dervish of the loudness of life and the high stakes concerns for the people we care about the most, our kids being the ones who it's their survival behavior depends on it. How do we get back to ourselves?
Really?
Sorry.
First, I have to say, the space between all of the extremes that we see is probably where most of us feel comfortable, but it's not what's sexy to talk about. You do need to center yourself, both in the service of yourself and your functioning and your kids. And also, yes, every moment is precious because life is precious, but no, you don't need to worry about the micro moments in your day with yourself, with your kids, in all your relationships. And we get so fixated on those. I think they stop us from just breathing. And the best way to grow and stretch is to have ruptures. That's been the science for decades. And the neuroscience has caught up and confirmed the suspicions of the social scientists for decades that making mistakes and having disrepair and having ruptures in your relationships with yourself and with your children and with whomever is actually when you repair those ruptures. It's the same with your actual physical body and muscles as it is in your relationships and with your kids. And so I think part of it is accepting this nonsense of perfection is not what it's about.
Do you think that we could get to a place that people could embrace sort of radical thinking about how we focus on ourselves in parenting, especially?
Especially in parenting, yes. So the science is very clear. Like if you are focused on self-regulated kids, all you need to do is work on self-regulation for yourself. That's your entire goal.
So if I'm freaking out, but telling my kids not to
like
freak
chill out, or they're overreacting, or whatever it is, I lean on breath in a way that is aggressive, but true to the science, and it works. So that's the first thing. The second thing and the third thing is to take a breath. Just going, okay, what do I need right now to deal with the fact that I'm freaking out? Not what do my kids need right now, but what do I need right now? And you will figure that out.
You're also showing them a coping mechanism.
Yes.
You're imprinting the map.
That's the map. You might say like, hey, right now, I'm not gonna respond in a way you want me to. I'm gonna take, if you have a 1.5-year-old, this won't work, but I'm gonna go take a walk and then I will talk to you about this. If your kids are safe and you can take a minute. Right then and there, you're not being selfish. You're saying, here's a map. These are the things that you can do when you are questioning how to be and how you are and what you need for yourself. And now, can you imagine what you've done for them when they grow up and they're like, why is my body just walking around the block right now and breathing? Oh, it's because that's what I saw. But the most powerful environmental influence on our children, parents, scary. It's not that much though. So to me, that is terrifying when you first hear it. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, if I'm the most powerful influence, at least I know I can control me. And the other thing is you only have to get it right, whatever right is to you, more often than not. That is a low bar. Like that is not your bar at school where you have to get an A or you're gonna feel like you didn't do well. That's not even a B. Like it's just more often than not. And the science backs that up. If any of you have grown up with a perfect parent, or like the presentation of a perfect parent, what did that make you feel when you got out of the house into the world and you were like, either that was a lie, or how are you supposed to live up to that? how in the world could you live up to that? So you would start to berate yourself constantly for the lack of perfection. So it is a huge service to your kids to fall on your face a lot, like a lot. So that's really important.
What's a good thing to say to your kids?
Not, if you hadn't done X, I wouldn't have yelled. But here's what's going on, and I'm really sorry.
You mentioned the relationship with your kids, and I have 2 daughters, and I have totally different relationships with both of them. I don't know if anyone here feels that way. The love is equal, thank God. I heard parents sometimes be like, oh, I secretly love that one more, and I was like, ah! But I'm in the process of trying to raise good girls in the face of everything that I've experienced, and I keep telling them, if the life I got to live leads me to being the mom I get to be for and with you, and this is your journey, not mine, which is where I get into the, oh my God, how much stuff do I look at with my kids and go, my mom, me, my mom, me. How do we stop the projections? And when do we use our baggage as incredible tools in our arsenal for life experience and wisdom, but also not make it about us when we're dealing with our kids and their journey?
Figuring your stuff out before you have the conversations does so much, because then you're in the conversation, you know how you feel about all of that. The protection of setting boundaries is so important, but it's uncomfortable because our kids push back and we don't like to see them upset. But if we've dealt with ourselves and like our experience, then when she says, well, you did this at that age, you can say yes. And that has nothing to do with what's going on here. This is something parents don't do very often because we're so scared of it, but sharing your affective state, which is just a way of saying what you're in the moment going through. Not because you're like, I need a therapist and this child will do, but because you're like, hey, I respect that you are a person who feels and is noticing the tension in my body or like my mood. So I'm not gonna just be like, yeah, no, everything's fine. Because that's how kids start to think they're a little bit loony, is that there's a disconnect between what's really happening and what they are being told is happening. So you're just making sense of those things with your kids, but setting guardrails so that they know that those are 2 separate things, feelings and how we act in the world. The thing is that when you have those moments, if you're really confused, this is where sister moms come in. Just call a friend.
Well, I noticed that when I said, when you're judging me, I can't engage in this conversation, she stopped. The constant thread of what I keep seeing, which is why I respect your work so much, is it makes me look at myself and it makes me parent myself as much as I'm trying to parent kids. And the fact that you have also found a recipe of not saying, we're here as parents, we're supposed to do this with our kids, that you talk about humans, raising good humans. We are all continuing to learn how we want to be and conduct ourselves in this world, react, change. And your book that's coming out in January talks about the 5
Principles.
principles.
Relationship. So like the things that matter. Reflection. We go back in, we reflect. We also reflect to the other. Regulation, repair, and rules. In a dream world, those 5 things are things that you can come to terms with and feel comfortable with and believe, because all of that allows you to have connection. And so when you have those 5 things, you really can't blow it. You really can't.
What is like one thing that you see that you wish you could adjust and needs a little course correcting, whether it's from kids or adults?
I think that telling people how to feel is not a great one.
Good.
Like, you should feel this way in this moment. That's a red flag comment. If you hear it coming out of your mouth, forgive yourself, because we have to, we're going to get it wrong a lot, but nobody wants to be told how to feel, nor is it effective. Like, has anybody ever told you how to feel and you've been like, oh, now I will feel that way? That's the shame thing. Like, once somebody tells you how to feel, that's a shaming thing, because it's like who you are is problematic.
So what is one thing that you wish we could start doing behaviorally, reactively?
I mean, I'm just going to repeat myself. Breathing.
Well, sometimes it needs to be repeated.
I think it's like reminding yourself all feelings are welcome. What you're feeling right now, who you are, I've got you, I love you. What you're doing, no. That is not okay. I'm going to take a breath so that the way I respond to the fact that it's not okay is not harmful. That's all you have to do. Everybody's going to be fine.
Can I ask you one personal question?
Sure.
Why do we compartmentalize behavior so much to parents and children?
Right, like why isn't it just this is human?
Exactly.
I know.
Why?
Because we are invested in parenting. We care so deeply. It's so important to us. There are 3 parts of our brain growth and throughout life. Infancy, the first few years has the largest amount of brain growth. The second spurt is adolescence. And the third is transition to parenthood. When you become a parent, doesn't matter if you've adopted, doesn't matter if you carried the baby, it is the onset of that parenting that grows your brain because you are so invested that you have openness to be able to make changes you never could make before, commit to ideas that seemed annoying before, decide to, take care of yourself in a different kind of way in the service of your kids. It is the same content, just rebranded.
Well, that's another thing you said that changed my life, which is I want you to look at your kids and attempt in your mind to speak to them the way you speak to yourself. And how would that work?
If you imagine, what do you want your child's voice to sound like in their head? And so if you could be nice to yourself, even if you don't say these things out loud, but just practice being nice in your own head, your kids will, they will catch it. They will. They will catch it. You will get no feedback for this for 20 years, if ever, but they will catch it.
I think they'll catch everything. And I think all the things that I've put into practice that I've learned from you has made me a better person and a better parent and a better human. Honestly, I know that for a fact. It's been 10 years. And I don't honestly know what I would do in this world without you. I really believe that your voice, with all of your knowledge and all of the research that you've done, but the human being that you are and the tone that you have is exactly what the world needs in order to walk through it. So thank you for being you, but even more importantly, thank you for going out into the world and putting yourself out there so that all of us can benefit from it. Truly, thank you.